Have you ever wondered why everyone seems to manifest so effortlessly while you're still stuck looking at your vision board, hoping, wishing, wanting, dreaming, but nothing is really coming through? Well, that's because manifestation tends to go a little bit deeper than just that. You can't just make a vision board, stick it on your wall and just wait around for it to happen. It's all about believing in yourself, believing in your vision on such a deep level, and that can really take some work. That's the tricky part where we get stuck a lot of the time. And if you want to know the tea, then just keep on watching. Hey guys, it's Sana and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is my channel, that's the Tea on Life, where I spill the tea on how to become the most confident, empowered and authentic version of yourself, how to live a life that is authentic and is aligned with your highest good. I thought it's the right time to make a little video on the power of manifestation. I'm a massive manifestation girly myself. I know everyone makes videos on manifestation. I know it's a highly saturated market, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make one as well, especially seeing it as it is something that I'm passionate about. And the approach that I want to talk to you guys about today is an approach that I'm currently applying to my own life. And in my opinion, it's the most successful non-bullshit approach. I'm seeing results so rapidly, it's insane. It just felt right to talk to you guys about it in this period of life that I find myself in. So let's get into it. This is called the I am approach. It's a 3-step approach around manifestation. So the first step is the I, which stands for identify. Identifying what it is that you want. This is easy enough. This is where vision boards kind of come into play. It's super fun and we can get really creative with it. But you have to get very, very real on what you want. You have to really establish what you want and be thorough with it. And then not only that, but you have to identify what the version of you looks like inside that vision, inside the manifestation. If you're trying to manifest your dream apartment in your dream city, you can't just print off pretty photos of a pretty apartment that you found on Pinterest and just look at it and think, yes, that's going to be my life one day. You have to really engulf yourself, immerse yourself in that vision of what it's like to be in this apartment, the lifestyle, the habits, the thoughts, the hobbies, the feelings, everything. Like, what are those things that your version of you that lives in that vision has? And this takes us to our next step, which is the A, alignment. Alignment is all about getting aligned with that future version of you by adopting those habits, those thoughts, those beliefs, those feelings, because by doing so, what you're doing is you're bringing the future self, you're bringing your future self into the present. And by doing that, you are creating a timeline where it's possible for those manifestations to come in, because you start vibrating at a frequency that matches those things. And this also comes down to a lot of detachment as well, because when you really think about it, when you're thinking about the thoughts that this version of you has, they're not thinking, oh, I can't wait for my manifestation to come through. Where is my manifestation? I want it now. Because that really just insinuates that there is no manifestation, that you don't have it already, which doesn't make sense to the version of you that already has this manifestation. So you have to really start thinking in present tense. I'm so grateful for my manifestation, this, that, because like attracts like. That's when the law of attraction comes into play. So it can feel a little bit hard at first because you just feel so fake, like the manifestation isn't physically right in front of your eyes, so therefore it doesn't feel like it's here. But you really just have to believe that things are working behind the scenes for you. In divine timing, everything's divinely orchestrated. You just have to have faith. Speaking of the law of attraction, this is where things start to get a little bit trickier. It brings me to my final step, which is actually manifesting, all right? It's the M in the I am. When it comes to manifesting, you need to be a vibrational frequency for what you're calling in, right? That's pretty standard knowledge. The things that you're calling in aren't going to come in if you have blockages. And this is what separates the people that can manifest from the people that can't manifest. What are blockages? Blockages are anything to do with your internal world, your subconscious mind, things like limiting self-beliefs, that self-narrative, the thoughts you have that are in the subconscious mind, things like lack mentality, fear mentality, always fixating on the outcome, having low self-worth, because everything is energy, everything is frequency, our thoughts, our feelings, and definitely things like our beliefs. You can tell yourself that you believe in yourself, you can tell yourself that you're confident, you can tell yourself that you love yourself, but if that deeply rooted core concept of you, those core beliefs, if they say otherwise, then the universe isn't going to help you out, because the universe speaks in energy, and the subconscious mind, that is giving off an energy that you're not aware about. So if you have this very limiting self-concept that's rooted in lack, you don't think you're worthy, you don't think you're capable, you don't think you're deserving, the universe is going to give you just that. You're basically telling the universe, I don't want my manifestation, I'm not worthy of my manifestation, don't give it to me, I'm not ready. That's what the universe hears, and the universe says, okay, bet. So the people that can manifest, they understand this. They understand that in order to manifest, they have to believe that they are unlimited. And when you have a limited concept, that in itself is a blockage. You need to believe that anything is possible. You need to believe that regardless of your current circumstance, things are possible for you. That's what I mean by believing in yourself, believing in your vision. And you know, when you feel drawn towards something, the reason why you want certain things, I believe, is because a future version of you already has it in some alternate universe, or alternate dimension. And basically you're just channeling through them. You know what I'm saying? So there are so many things that I've just, in a weird way, just out of nowhere, I felt drawn towards, whether that was a person, a place, or doing something. And it's always just led me towards the right path. So you just have to believe in that gut feeling, regardless of what's happening. Like I said before, you just have to believe that things are happening behind closed doors for you. It's all about taking the path of least resistance and being in that flow state, and just letting go of control for things, detaching from the outcome. The reason why we're so attached to the outcome is because we're currently not happy in our present lives, and we're attached to outcomes because we think that whatever that outcome can give us, it's going to make us happier, more peaceful, more successful, whatever it is. We put so much pressure on this outcome to be favorable for us, and that's never good, because that means that we're dependent on things outside of ourselves to make us happy. It really comes down to just feeling happy within yourself, feeling content and whole within yourself, and feeling like you don't really need, there's no desperate need for things outside of yourself. You don't need the fancy car or the fancy career or the high paying career or the loving relationship or whatever to make yourself feel whole, because it is 100% doable to find that within yourself after you've done that inner work. Because I've experienced it myself. You know, I still have goals, but after doing immense work on myself, I realized that, you know, I really only need myself to feel whole. I'm the only person, the only thing in this life that can fill that void. And once you get to that point, that's when your frequency starts to elevate, because you start radiating this love frequency, which is like the highest frequency, you know, like the unconditional love for yourself, just feeling at peace. And that's when your manifestations start to come through. And you're also detached at the same time, because what you're saying to the universe is, I'm whole as I am. I don't need these external things to come through for me. If you struggle with things like low self-worth, that negative self-talk, focusing on the lack, fixated on outcomes, you know, it's going to be very, very hard for you to manifest, because these are all massive blockages. So you really have to dedicate yourself to do the inner work before you can really start seeing anything come into your external reality. You know, only now am I starting to see things come through for me. And to be honest with you, that's because I've spent a long time doing the inner work. Of course, I manifested things along the way, but the really big things I've been calling in for myself are just happening now. And I can see why, to be honest with you. Like, I'm so aligned with my life. I've cleared a lot of blockages. I don't feel the need to chase things. I think that everything's just going to come to me in due time. When it does, it's just right there at the right time. It's going to serve its purpose. I'm not really attached to things and people and outcomes, because I just have this unwavering faith in the fact that everything just always works out for me. Because I'm in a place now where lots of parts of my life reflect my authentic self. I'm aligned with my life, and when your life is aligned, just the process of manifestation becomes so much more fun, because it doesn't feel like work. When you're working towards your goals, it's more so this like journey, like it's an adventure that's just unfolding, and you're just enjoying all the moments along the way. So let's just quickly talk about how we can unblock some of these blocks. So a lot of people will tell you to, you know, write down affirmations, write down nice things about yourself, and that stuff is all well and good. The main thing that really helped me was just becoming aware of myself, like really diving in deep, doing the inner work, as in figuring out what beliefs I held around myself, the overall concept I held around myself, what was the main narrative there, you know, like, did I really hate myself? Was I a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit not confident? I found out that it was actually some pretty dark stuff that I was just never really aware of. I had a very traumatic childhood, a very dark childhood, and the things that happened to me back then were things that I've suppressed for so long. It's only been in the past like 2 or 3 years that I've actually, I guess, become aware of those things and started to actually do that work. And now that I've cleared a lot of it out, like I said, now it's a much smoother progress. Questioning myself in the sense of, why do I have this belief? Why do I always focus on, you know, a negative outcome? Why do I always assume a negative outcome? Why am I such a perfectionist? Why do I overthink? Why am I so hypervigilant? Things like that. Because by being aware of those things, that meant I had more control over myself. And having more control over myself meant I could start applying methods around consciously choosing / creating those new neural pathways in my brain by doing things differently, forming new habits. And that can be really hard when you are adopting a new habit, because your brain hates change. Even if it is good change, your brain is going to resist because it doesn't feel normal. And so I knew this, which is why I kept on pushing. I knew that the more consistent I was, the more my brain would start to accept that new habit, that new healthy habit, as something that was normal for me. And I'm not gonna lie, I still have deeply rooted negative habits, but for the most part, I have done tremendous work around myself. Overall, I've built such a solid amount of self-trust to the point where it's like, it just doesn't feel forced for me anymore. It's just a natural, like, this natural feeling of, yeah, like, why wouldn't things work out for me? Why wouldn't I get everything that I dream of? It just seems right. It just feels right. And I suppose that comes with the journey of everything that I've been through and realizing how resilient I am, how strong I am. And that's the other thing about manifestation. You have to believe that you are deserving of what you're calling in. You have to believe that what you're calling in is on par with who you are. So a lot of these things are, when we're calling in whatever, maybe it's the dream apartment, the dream $1 million business, the dream boyfriend or girlfriend, we put these things on a massive pedestal and we look up at them like this big, grand, shiny, amazing prize. You have to see yourself as the prize as well. If you don't see yourself as the prize and you see these things as the prize, there's a bit of a gap there, you know. So that's why it's so important to work on elevating that self-worth, elevating that frequency, so you can rise up and meet those things. So it's not really this feeling of like, oh, you don't really have any doubt around whether or not it's going to come. You know it's going to come because you just know that you're deserving of that. You have this self-love and you just know that you are worthy of everything good in this world. But going back to the whole writing down nice things part, that does actually help. When I first started my journey, I did, I forgot what it's called, narrative flipping. So the narrative that you hold around yourself, like the story that you tell yourself around who you are, basically. So write it all down, even if it's really negative. That can be really hard and confronting to do, but just do it anyway. Flip the page and then write it in the opposite tense. So if you hate yourself, write it all down. Doesn't matter how dark it is, right? Just get it out. And then on the next page, just write down how much you love yourself. And it's gonna feel fake at first. It's gonna feel like you're just lying to yourself. But this is you, like, basically making a deal, like a pact with yourself, that this is the new narrative that you're going to hold on to and that you're going to work around, that you're going to work with. And when you have a core narrative that's rooted in self-love and empowerment and positivity, everything else is kind of like a snowball / domino effect, because all your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, they all come from this core place. So if you have this limited core narrative, everything else is going to be limited as well. When you have an unlimited core narrative, when you have an unlimited, positive, loving narrative, and you think that you deserve everything, you love yourself, life is great, blah, 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 then the thoughts are going to reflect that, the feelings are going to reflect that, your habits are going to reflect that, who you spend your time with is going to reflect that, and that is how we change our reality, our external reality. That's how we get into alignment, because things start matching who we are, we start vibrating higher, and that's when that manifestation comes into fruition, comes into our actual physical reality. Because you need to meet the universe halfway. You can't just, like I said, make a vision board, just look at the vision board and just expect it to come when your habits, your thoughts, your feelings don't match what you're trying to call in. If you're still stuck in this negative loop and you want these very high vibrational things, you know, how do you expect to maintain those things? How do you expect to be mature enough to handle those things? The version of you that has all those things doesn't hate themselves, doesn't doubt themselves. If you're trying to manifest $1 million business, do you really think that version of you is going to struggle with their confidence, is going to struggle, you know, being assertive, being a boss, doing what they want? No. So you really have to align yourself with those habits, those thoughts, those feelings, those pastimes, those hobbies, whatever, so that it feels more real. And that's how you start believing in yourself more as well, because it becomes more realistic. Again, like I said, all manifestation is believing in yourself, believing in your vision. But all these things that I'm talking to you about, it's the foundation, the underlying foundation that's going to support you in your journey of believing in yourself. Because if you don't have these things, if you don't do the inner work, if you don't have that secure relationship and support for yourself, with yourself, then it's just not going to work. Okay, now let's quickly talk about where people get stuck. What is it that could possibly prevent you in the future, next year, from manifesting what you want? And I'll give you some solutions around how you can avoid that. I've kind of spoken about them already, a few of them, but let's just go through it anyway. So the first one is not being clear enough with your goals and your vision. So when you're thinking about what you want to manifest, you have to be very clear with it. See, if the vision is a little blurry, the universe isn't going to understand what you want. It doesn't hear you properly. So you have to really get down and gritty and establish what it is you want in detail. Envision that shit like you're stepping into a movie scene. You know, if you're trying to manifest that dream apartment, you have to really think about, like, okay, what lighting am I going to have in my dream apartment? Ambient warm lighting. It's going to be like the cool, moody kind of purple blue lighting. What kind of furniture am I going to have? How does the rug feel on my feet when I'm walking across the carpet or the rug, whatever? Am I going to have a pet cat in my apartment? What kind of breed of cat is it and how does it feel? You know, am I going to be lighting incense every night? How does that incense smell? You know, what is my morning routine? What skin products do I use? How does it feel on my face? What outfits am I wearing? What does the actual layout of my apartment look like? Am I living by myself? Am I living with someone else? What kind of conversations am I going to be having when I'm living with this person? What kind of relationship is it going to be like? How far is my apartment from my place of work? You know, how many flights of stairs, like things like that. Like really just immerse yourself in it fully. This is so easy for me to do. I think I've just always had a knack for that. And I know some people really struggle with envisioning images. If that is you, then just write it down, like scripting, word for word. If you can't be bothered, then you just don't want it enough. That's all it is. So write it down like it's a movie, okay? And then just keep repeating it in your head. Be very, very firm with what it is that you want in detail. Then the universe will hear you loud and clear. The next thing is negative thinking. So like I said before, the thoughts, the feelings, like all these things are a frequency that we're giving off into the universe. So you need to find some kind of routine, some kind of method, some kind of way to keep those negative thoughts away and switch them into positive thoughts. And like I said, it all comes down to that core narrative, that core self-concept. So once you've really done a lot of work around switching that self-concept, then it will be a lot easier for those negative thoughts to stay away and those positive thoughts to come into play. All right, and we're still human beings. Like, we're still going to have moments where we have negative thoughts, where we have that inner critic. I do all the time, you know, but you get to consciously choose when you want to, I suppose, like, feed into it. Like, you having that awareness gives you that power, because now you can be like, wait, I notice what's happening here. I don't want to feed into this. This isn't the person that I'm trying to be. I'm trying to align myself as someone who is better than this, that's above this way of thinking. Let me just switch it up. You can try meditation, mindfulness practices. That's going to help ground you, because, you know, sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes we just have days where we're just in low energy. Kind of just doing those mindfulness practices, that meditation is going to ground you, so at least you're at a neutral place. Don't get paranoid and overthink about how much you're, you know, in that negative place of thinking, because you have to be in a negative place of thinking over time. Don't worry if you have a negative day, if you have an off day. We're all human beings, it happens. Just do what you can to get back on the horse the next day. So the next thing is lack of action. Lots of people think that manifestation is just, you know, an excuse for not doing the hard work. No, like I said, it is just about believing in yourself and trusting that the universe is going to help you out, but you still have to put a little bit of work in. That example I used before around, you know, wanting to manifest that $1 million business, It's never going to come if you're not taking the steps to actually start that business in the first place. So you really just have to meet the universe halfway. You do a bit of work and then the universe does a bit of work. You know, it's like, it's teamwork. That's really what it is. And it's not like you're working in a way that you're stressed out, you're burnt out, you're putting pressure on the outcome. It's a process. You're enjoying the process. It's unfolding naturally. When you're fixated on the outcome, you're fixated on, you know, where is the manifestation? How is it coming? When is it coming? You're creating a block because you're manifesting that lack yourself. Law of attraction, like attracts like. If you're constantly thinking, where is my manifestation? When is it coming? You're telling the universe that it's not here yet. You're manifesting the lack of that manifestation. So you have to tell yourself that it's coming. It's here, or you just don't actually see it yet. So the way that I do this is I'm just focused on the journey. I'm focused on the next steps. I'm not sitting around thinking about how it hasn't happened yet. I'm thinking about how it's happening now. Even though I might not see it right in front of me, it's happening behind the scenes somehow, some way that I just don't understand. And every second, every day, it's unfolding in front of my eyes. And every single minor mundane thing is contributing to this manifestation coming into my life. And that might seem a little bit far-fetched for some people. Maybe it is far-fetched, but trust me and believe me, it has worked wonders for me. Just believing that every single thing that I do, every single point of my life leads me to what I'm seeking, to what I deserve, to what I'm destined for, no matter how small. Very much like a dot-to-dot drawing or like a constellation in the stars, one thing always leads to another, even if it feels like it's totally unrelated to what you're trying to call in. The other thing is lack of patience. When you're impatient with your manifestations, that's just you being fixated on the outcome again. You really just have to accept that whenever the manifestation comes, it's coming at the right time. Whenever it comes, it's coming just when it's meant to. Right time, right place. When you're impatient, you're creating resistance, and that resistance is what is actually causing the block, and it's pushing the manifestation further away. For me, I understand that the blessings I seek will be given to me when I'm ready to receive them. And there's so many things that are happening for me now, that are unfolding for me now, that I've been wanting for years. And I'm actually really grateful that they're happening now and not then, because I was not mature enough to handle them then. Even though I might have really wanted them then, I just wasn't ready. And sometimes that's why the manifestation doesn't come, because the universe just has bigger plans. The universe knows exactly when it's the right time for you to receive this manifestation. Sometimes it has to do with you not being mentally ready or emotionally ready. Sometimes it's just you're not in the right environment, you're not with the right people. Sometimes there's still a lot of lessons to be learnt. It's all about divine synchronicity and timing, to be really honest. That has to do with alignment as well. If you're not aligned enough, then it's not going to happen. So the way that you can get into alignment is by, you know, making sure the people that are in your life are good people, they're supportive people, they love you, they make you feel whole inside, supported, they spark your creativity, you know, they inspire you, people like that. The work you're doing is good work, like you're motivated by the work you're doing, it feels fulfilled in some way, you know, your environment is a positive environment, a healing environment, a supporting environment. Working on those aspects of your external life, of your reality, that is you laying the foundation to make it physically possible for that manifestation to come through. And that's another way that we work with the universe. That's another way of putting in some of the work and taking action, is making sure that the foundation is laid out, that manifestation can come in smoothly. So when you think about it, think about at the airport, like when planes are landing, the radio station, the radio tower sends out signals to the plane telling them, yep, you can land or whatever, this way, that way. So you have to think about your brain being the signals that you're sending out, and the plane is your manifestation. So if the laneway the plane lands on is all blocked, the plane can't really land. And also if you're giving out these radio waves that don't make sense, that are telling the plane a complete different thing, actually no, fly off that way, don't come down here, where's the plane gonna go? Not on your runway, not into your life. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give us a thumbs up, give us a little like, a subscribe if you did enjoy it. I really hope you guys manifest some major things for yourselves next year. I personally feel like I'm in this massive transitional period and there's a lot of big things happening for me, but just remember that this isn't just a journey about manifestation, it's a journey of self-love, and those manifestations are really just an added bonus, to be really honest with you. And I'll see you in my next video. I hope you guys enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your New Year's, and yeah, I'll see you next year, I guess. Bye.